If you're looking to become an operations manager, you might be wondering what qualifications you need, what experience employers are looking for, and whether you're actually ready to take that next step. The good news is that becoming an operations manager isn't about being perfect. It's about developing the right skills, gaining relevant experience, and adopting the mindset needed to lead people and deliver results. Throughout my career in hospitality operations leadership and in learning and development, helping develop future operations managers, I've seen firsthand what helps people make the step into leadership and often what holds them back as well. In this video, I'll share some of those lessons and practical steps that you can take to position yourself for your first operations manager role. And whilst we'll touch on some big topics today, such as leadership, commercial awareness, and problem solving, I'll be creating future videos that dive much deeper into each of these areas. So let's start with a simple question. What does an operations manager actually do? Before we talk about becoming an operations manager, it's important to understand what the role actually involves. When people hear the title operations manager, they often have one of two perceptions. Some think that you're buried in spreadsheets all day, looking at reports and performance metrics. Others think that you spend your time driving from site to site, popping in for a coffee, checking a few emails, having a quick chat with the team and then heading off to the next location. Now, don't get me wrong, there are days when I enjoy a coffee and there are certainly plenty of emails, but the reality is very different. Operations management is fundamentally about people, performance and problem solving. You're responsible for creating the conditions that allow teams to succeed. That means supporting managers, developing people, maintaining standards and managing costs, solving problems and ensuring that customers receive a great experience. On any given day, you might be coaching a manager through a difficult conversation, reviewing financial performance, helping a team navigate change, or responding to an operational issue, or identifying opportunities to improve results. What makes operations such an interesting career is that no 2 days are ever quite the same. In many ways, you're the person bringing together people, process, and performance to ensure the business achieves its goals. So what skills do you need? The biggest mistake people make is thinking that they need to know everything before becoming an operations manager. In reality, the most important skill is leadership. Can you influence people? Can you build trust? Can you motivate teams? Can you hold people accountable whilst maintaining positive relationships? Let me give you an example. Imagine one of your direct reports is consistently missing targets. A manager behaviour might focus purely on correcting the issue. A leader will seek to understand what's driving performance, coach the individual, provide support, but set clear expectations and hold them accountable for improvement. That's leadership. Looking back on my own career, promotions rarely came because I'd mastered every technical aspect of a role. They came because people trusted me to lead others and deliver results through a team. The strongest operations managers aren't necessarily the people with all the answers. They're the people who can bring others with them. If you want to progress into an operations leadership role, start developing your leadership skills now, regardless of your current job title. And don't worry if you're still learning. Every good leader I know is still learning too. The second skill is commercial awareness. Operations managers need to understand how the business makes money. You don't need to become an accountant overnight, but you do need to understand the key measures such as sales, labour costs, productivity, budgets and profitability. Despite my dad being a maths teacher, maths was never a strong point for me. One thing that helped me progress in my career was becoming curious about the numbers rather than avoiding them. If someone mentioned profit and loss, labour percentages or budgets, I wanted to understand what they meant and how they influenced decision making. The reality is that great leadership and strong commercial performance do go hand in hand. As an operations manager, you'll often be balancing people, customer experience and business performance simultaneously. The more commercially aware you become, the more effective your decisions will be. This is another topic we will explore in more detail in future videos, because commercial awareness can often feel intimidating until someone breaks it down into practical terms. Operations can be unpredictable. Things go wrong, people leave, customers complain, budgets change, equipment breaks and systems fail. If you're looking for a career where every day runs exactly to plan, operations probably isn't it. One thing I've learned is that problems are rarely the issue. How leaders respond to the problems is what makes the difference. Great operations managers stay calm under pressure, they gather information, they involve the right people, and they focus on solutions rather than blame. And sometimes the problems are exactly what you would expect. Other times they're things that nobody could have predicted. I could tell you about how to overcome a problem caused by transporting hot cupboards in a tailgate lorry on the way to a high-profile function, but perhaps I'll save that story for another video. But what I can tell you is that it wasn't the kind of situation that featured prominently in the job description when I started my career, but that's operations. The reality is that people will often look to you when things aren't quite going to plan. The question isn't whether problems will happen, the question is how will you respond when they do. The ability to remain calm whilst others are panicking is one of the most valuable leadership skills you can develop. Often your team doesn't need you to have all the answers immediately, they need you to remain composed long enough to help find the right solution. So what experience are employers looking for? A question I hear a lot of is, do I need management experience before becoming an operations manager? The answer is usually yes, but that experience doesn't always need to come from a formal management role. One of the biggest myths in leadership is that leadership starts when you get the title. In reality, leadership starts long before that. You can gain valuable experience by leading projects, training colleagues, mentoring team members, or taking responsibility for KPIs or supporting change initiatives, maybe even taking ownership of specific business objectives. Employers are looking for evidence that you've already started demonstrating leadership behaviours. One of the best pieces of advice that I can give is this: don't wait for someone to give you permission to lead. Look for opportunities to demonstrate your leadership before you have the title. Some of the strongest operations managers I've worked with were already acting like leaders long before they were promoted. So what mindset makes a difference? If I could give one piece of advice to an aspiring ops manager, it would be this: stop waiting until you feel ready. Most people assume that confidence comes first and then they take the opportunity. In reality, the opportunity often comes first and the confidence follows. Every promotion I've had involved stepping into something that felt slightly uncomfortable. I've never reached a point where I thought, perfect, I know absolutely everything and now I'm fully prepared for this role. If you've reached that point, please let me know, because I'd love to know how you managed it. Growth rarely happens inside your comfort zone. The people who progress are often the people who are willing to learn, adapt, and keep moving forward even when they don't have all the answers. The truth is that most leaders spend their careers learning. The difference is that they don't allow uncertainty to stop them taking the next step. If you're aiming for an operations manager role, focus on developing your leadership skills, understanding the commercial side of the business, building problem-solving capability, and seeking opportunities to lead wherever you are today. Remember, becoming an operations manager isn't about knowing everything. It's about demonstrating that you can lead people, solve problems, and make good decisions, as well as continue learning. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's the biggest challenge you're facing on your journey towards management and leadership? And if you'd like more practical leadership and career development advice, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.